Hello and welcome to the Nordic Takedown podcast. My name is Jason, the Captain Kirk, and welcome back, dear listener. I'm here with, I am so humble.
Hello.
Hello, are you still feeling humble after the last week?
Yes, always.
Yep, always humble. And I'm here with your favourite Uppsalian, Viktor.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, that is a thing, right? That's what you call people in Sweden.
Of course.
Uppsalians.
Uppsaliensis, I think.
Uppsalian.
That's like the Latin thing. We're a scholarly town, you know?
Yeah. No, that is true. Like and I'm from Oxford, so that's another scholarly town as well. And then Adam, where are you from?
No, the woods.
Yeah, the woods. The community college town down the road.
Close enough to Norway.
Yeah, close enough to Norway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But however, it is you that is has won things recently. So you are showing us educated up here as well.
Exactly.
So we're going to get onto that later a little
difference between book smart and street smart, right? That's why.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I'm not sure when it's good to admit that I am neither. As we will, realise as well. Actually, true story here. There was when I was back working in the theatre, I did a little bio for one of my first shows, and said that I went to a college in Oxford. Yeah. However, I didn't mention that it was a further education college, which is the same as like a gymnasiet. And people from Oxford turned up to see the show and said, "Oh, what college did you go to?" We were from Magdalen. I was like, "Yeah, Oxford College of Further Education down the road. I was there when I was 16." And they were just like, "Oh, okay."
Not that impressive.
Not as impressive.
Not as impressed at all. But they liked the show. That was fine as well. So anyway, this is episode 39. We have been going 39 weeks straight, which something to be proud of, something to celebrate. Maybe we celebrate on 52, but we're still pretty
it's
happy.
gonna be pretty clean, right? That would be in March or something.
Yeah, end of March, beginning of April. They're going to go out. So if you guys want to already start taking that journey down memory lane with us, go back and listen to episode 1 and listen all the way through, and it ups our listen ratings as well, so that we appreciate that too. So when we've actually been going through a bit of growth recently as well, we've been hitting a few more. What we normally hit after 2 weeks, we've been hitting after a week in terms of listeners for each episode. So we have, I think we've got people from America listening as well. So if you're listening in from America, from all over the world, welcome. You are very welcome here, and we're glad to have you. What have we been playing this week? What have you guys been playing this week?
Well, I've been knee deep in the prep for the Catina Brawl in Skövde this weekend coming up.
Yeah. What are you bringing? What are your tips? How do we beat you?
So I'm not 100% on anything yet, but we are a crew testing, and we are having so much fun. So whatever is going to happen there, we've still had like 4 weeks of the the prepping, and that's just awesome. Like the last few weeks, we write essays of text every day back and forth on like analysis and maybe 2 of those cards. No, 3. Okay. Well, how would we make space for that? And it's just
I am
a part of the game.
I am completely terrified. I am so overwhelmed.
I love
because
this
I
part
have
of the game.
not been had time to put this much effort into anything. I put less effort in already than I did for the first Catina Brawl.
Wow.
Have you not put these 4 weeks into any use, Jason? What's going on?
Really not. No, I have this thing called a job that's taking up a lot. I have these 2 things called children. One of them is 3 years old, so that takes a lot of energy, and life happens as well. But I am completely terrified now, Viktor, that you have been putting 4 weeks of preparation into this.
I mean, that's a part of the game that I really enjoy. Like it's more fun to do this almost than like also driving down together, like
those
4 blokes in a car. The whole experience. Is
that's Well, I know the punchline for that one. 4 blokes in a car. Is there a punchline for that joke?
I don't know.
No, it felt like the start to a joke.
Yeah,
You know?
no, but like it's the whole experience of going to a tournament
you're right,
like this, and it starts way before the tournaments. That's why these games are so great, you know.
Yeah. No, excellent. Yeah, we're going down to Malmö, meeting the people that we had at the Malmö game week. Road trip down with Matthias, stuff like that. That was more enjoyable than sitting down and playing 4 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. So if you're interested and you haven't booked in to make the car trip, come down to Skövde on Saturday, and do it for the road trip. If you don't do it for anything else,
Exactly.
But do it to see Manatorsk because their digs are so nice. We'll get onto that later. Adam, have you been practicing?
Yes,
Have you been
obviously. I've also been prepping for 4 weeks, obviously.
Yep.
I have with different people, but a little bit with Viktor as well, but not. I'm not in their inner circle, obviously. But yeah, been testing a lot, but also been playing a little bit for the online league as well. Obviously, since I was playing a final in that. So a little bit like wider testing. I've been testing a lot with my brother, preparing him for the tournament and stuff as well. So not only been testing for me, like testing for others as well has been like the last week, which might be unsmart because why not focus on yourself? But I think you learn some stuff actually by doing that as well, like playing the decks that you're not maybe intending to play. Sometimes you might actually learn that you want to play it, so and you can swap over.
For sure. Like you and me tested a little bit yesterday, and I was just playing decks that I'm certainly not going to play in Skövde because you needed to test against them. But I still pull something from that. I think that's part of it.
I think there is some decks that are very interesting that I haven't considered yet, and like sometimes there comes up these. We're going to talk about bigger tournaments in a minute, but like new decks that makes it impossible to play the deck you've been prepping with. Like it happened before Malmö. Like I wanted to really play Boba Yellow, but then stupid Kira arrived, and like I had to jump ship and just start playing 200-300 games of Sabine in 2 weeks. So there are dangers of like locking in too early, obviously with a deck. But yeah, this prepping season has been fun, so I hope it pays off.
That gives me hope, Adam. That gives me so much hope. Not looking into a deck too soon. I have a choice between 10 different decks currently, so
maybe too many decks.
that seems a lot.
I'm going to do like eeny meeny miny mo and roll a die or something the night before and send in that deck list. I think
I will not bet you as the winner now when you're telling me this.
Do you know what? That makes me even more determined.
But Adam, this is when you're wrong. You should bet on Jason, because even if you bet small, you might win a lot.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be in it to win it, my friend.
Because you might have the best deck in one of those 10. It's worth that gamble.
Yeah, exactly. And if it happens, it will be an accident. So Chewbacca Yellow wins the day.
That would be cool. That would be you going with you.
I have the dream of winning something with Chewbacca Yellow.
You still haven't played a tournament game with it, right?
I haven't, no, because I'm scared.
You want the dream to still be there, but
you
don't want to try it.
But as soon as I lose, we lose with it, the dream dies, and I have to sell my cards and find a hole somewhere. My testing has been I played a little bit of the Thorn Blue deck, seeing if because that is something that I may take, I may not take, depending on what the local meta is. But the local meta is going to be very, very different now, because half of the people turning up will be from non-local meta as well. So you have the local meta, but then you have other people coming in. It's going to go, well, what are these people likely going to play? Is it going to stay the what it is now? And I'm not going to give any hints as to what the local meta currently has been. I wouldn't if I could, because Or no, I couldn't if I wanted to, because I haven't been able to make it down there as well. So not knowing what the local meta is one thing, but also is actually I don't want to kind of ruin it for the locals.
No,
anyway,
of course.
You have a thing as well. But another thing I did try last night, and not that I'm planning to take this deck as well, is your yellow Quinlan Voss, Viktor, that you put in the deck building channel later as well, and that's got some kick.
Yeah, no,
that's got some kick. It's not competitive.
No, it's not.
But
that's not the most.
No. It's not. It's not like but it's not like that version is not like the top competitive level.
No, that was.
But it is.
Early draft.
But it can be competitive. It really can
For sure.
be.
For sure.
You know, it can be a lot of fun. So I was playing around with that one as well this week. But that's about as much as I managed to get as well, because last night I actually played some Keyforge again, because some people at my gaming group wanted to play Keyforge again. So like a week after I put down the podcast and leave the podcast to the side for Keyforge, suddenly people want to play it, and I'm just thinking, come on. But don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm not leaving Star Wars.
No, and you should probably focus on the Star Wars game just this week. You can play Keyforge.
Yeah, exactly.
Week.
just this week, if that's at all possible. So that's what we've been doing in Star Wars. So it's basically all hands on deck for the Catina Brawl at Manatorsk in Skövde this weekend. If you're currently, we're going to plug it a little bit later as well, but if you're currently already thinking, could I go, should I go, starts at 10 o'clock. So, get that temptation rolling and come and join us. We've had some tournaments. We've had some big tournaments happening around the world, and so we're going to kind of take our focus out of the Nordics and over the pond to Birmingham. I think is one of the places. How many people at that tournament?
201. So that was certainly the largest tournament for set 3, but I think it's top 5 largest tournaments ever for the game. I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So
England has been bringing some big tournaments. I think
sure.
they have a few of those big ones. Barcelona is the biggest still, I think. Which also was one with a Boss Blue, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So Boss Blue won this one. Boss Blue won Birmingham as well.
Yeah, Thorpe took it down with the Boss Blue. Yeah. It's a really streamlined, neat deck that he brought for that tournament. I think he made a really good meta call. Unlike the runner-up and the third place, who I think made horrible meta calls, but they are just such great players that they made top 3 anyway.
I might have to argue there with you, but continue.
Yeah, no, I think in a meta where Sabine is rampant, and there were a lot of Sabines, and there were a bunch of other aggro things. Joshua Friedman Birch, as well as Howie Williams, brought Palpatine, and they obviously only lost to the only Sabine player they faced in the Swiss. And if they would have faced a bunch of Sabine, even though they're great players, I'm not sure they would have made the cut.
Yeah,
like that's such a huge gamble, because that's such a bad matchup. Even if you're as great as Joshua Friedman Birch, you can lose that game so easily. So I think that was a really wild gamble of theirs, but it paid out.
Yeah, I think, like, I see your point, but on the other hand, I feel like this was an amazing meta call. Like, you're talking usually about, like, we in Sweden, but Europe in general plays more control. Like,
that's true.
Especially the top heavy guys, the top end people, which means you want to be able to beat those guys, right?
For sure.
And, like, if you look at the stats, the most played deck was Anakin, like, by far. And I think Palpatine and Boss Blue just smashes that deck. Especially this iteration. I think,
note to self: do not take Anakin on Saturday.
Not the lightsaber bravado shenanigans. Like, that deck performed awful. Like, compared to how many players that played it. The best player, I think, got to 26th place or something, and that's pretty weird. Like, sad when you're almost 30 people of 200. So that's not necessarily saying that the players who played it was bad, but the deck wasn't that great. And Sabine and like Django, for me, they were played way less than I thought they would. Like, so I see.
Still, like there were 23 Django Fett players. So like, sure, there were more Anakin players, but only by a little.
Yeah.
And then there were 12 Sabine players.
Yeah,
and then
that was a bit fewer than I thought, I would say.
Yeah, sure. But still a lot. And then you had a lot of other, even faster, but probably more glass canny, really fast decks. You got Ahsoka, you got Asajj Ventress. Can't see any Kylos. Yeah, one Kylo.
Yeah. I think maybe the Cad Red is the other one, right?
Cad Red, but that's not super fast. That's more mid-rangey.
So I think, for me, I feel like it's also different, of course, with the Pulp Blue and the Pulp Yellow. The Pulp Blue has a lot of healing, so I think the Pulp Blue is quite well equipped to deal with like maybe the Django.
The Django probably. Yeah, it can probably do Django really well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it has more problems into Sabine, but both of them have the problem into Sabine. So I think the blue pulp is more like, it was the better meta call, right? I feel like, even though the yellow was cool. And it was actually, they were hammering the mid-range decks, both of them.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, and then obviously, when it is that small of a cut, you need to have some luck in your matchups. Like even Thork needed some luck in the matchups as well. Like the Sabines and Djangos, they did not want to run into too many mirrors, for example. So like stuff like that. So you can't judge only by the top 8, right? Because you have to go a little bit wider. But I think they did, like, if it was in America, they would not have a chance with bringing that deck. But in Europe, I think you can afford to be the greedier guy sometimes. And because you can pick the Sabine and still not make it, right? Even though Sabine might be the best choice.
Yeah.
So you have to like predict. And it looks like for example, the approach was go control and they got first, second, and third. It says something, even though they could have. Yeah.
I mean, obviously could have ended up differently. You can call me Al. Got King of Swiss. Didn't lose a game with his Sabine ECL, and also there was really strong. Like Dave was pretty strong on his Sabine Yellow, and I think Sabine Yellow, that deck it's just super good into Django. Talking Town, because it just doesn't care about the kneel, the tap down effect. Yeah. It just goes super wide and rushes.
Yeah, and of course Al got the Django, which he didn't want, like got punished by getting first. Yeah. Like those things happens, and we don't know if Al did not get the Django matchup because there was 2 Djangos. Maybe he wins the whole tournament.
He certainly had a really good shot at it. Yeah, seeing how top 3 was decks that he's favored into.
Yeah, I think he had beaten some of them.
He beat all of them.
Yeah.
He actually beat that Django in Swiss.
Oh, so that one is rough.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I really feel for Alessandro. He's such a great player.
Yeah, that is like, and he had beaten Howard as well and Joshua. Yeah, that is.
Well, I mean that's tournaments for you.
Yeah, that's how it is.
I really enjoyed watching the tournament, and it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to catch a lot of the games actually going home on the train on Sunday, the Top Cuts. Like, it was interesting, it was fun, but I have to say the control mirrors are not that fun. Like, like to play or watch. Like, the game 1 is interesting, but then I'm started like, 2 more, and then I realized no, not 2 more, it's 1 more, and then the one who takes the initiative wins.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Thork though, that as long as it's very clear what's going to happen, if you know the rules, there's sort of a cat and mouse to that part of it. It might feel somewhat.
It's skill.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, and it might feel like it's a different game. And it certainly was in both of the semi-final, Thork against Joshua Friedman Birch, as well as in the final against Howie. I didn't actually see that part of the final first because I was just zoned out. I was helping my brother move some furniture stuff, and so I thought when I saw Howie mill out those two vigilances and Thork just you could see the dejected face, and he thought you could see he lost, and I was like, oh, this game is over, and I turned off.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure how we took it.
Yeah.
I even went like pretty confidently into forums and like, yeah, how we took it down, and like, no, he didn't.
Strong move.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I was feeling when I took. Was it game 1 or game 2 against you, Adam? In the is it the showdown or the Catina Brawl?
Yeah,
last
I think
time?
it was a Cantina Brawl.
No,
it was showdown. Yeah,
it was the showdown when I was like, oh, going 1-1, I could actually win this. No. But I actually know the second game went quite close as well. But I was just like, oh, I won. I beat Adam. In one game, and you won the whole thing. It's easy to get carried away when that happens. When you get that luck, I guess luck. But I guess it is when you're milling and you mill away something good.
Yes,
yes, it's part of the game. Yes, it's an effect, but there is that element of luck in it to actually do that, to draw. I mean, I've had a good deck and I've drawn so badly it just didn't go well. I drew too badly in 2 games and it just didn't go well for me, and you can't do anything about that. Just like you can't do anything about the decks that you're playing against. Like you can compare your deck to main board against the meta deck like Sabine Wren, and then you may never face it.
Yes, even though she's the most represented, sometimes you just dodge it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you might think actually no, it's fine. And then the Boba Fett is the in the last meta is the one deck you don't want to face, and every single deck is a Boba Fett. Yeah. That you face against, and you have a really lousy time despite your deck being the best against every other deck. Yeah. But we don't have to worry about Boba anymore.
I don't think like. It was this kind of randomness to what happened in either of these final games, though. Like I said, I think it was pretty skill intensive, that part of it as well.
I think just the game 2, it was not luck that Thor got that Crate Dragon that made him win that, but it was lucky in that moment. But he had gone through so much of his deck, so he could have pulled it already. It was more likely that he was going to start pulling it, I feel like, then it was going to be there. But like for Howie, of course, it's did you draw it right now? Like that is lucky. But I think the most I take part of this is like take away from this is how the tiebreaker works, and how you actually have to think about when you are a control player for the control mirrors. If you lose game 1, you have to play game 2 so fast, and then you have to know the tiebreaker rules for game 3. Because you're not finishing game 3.
No. And I think that's the part that annoys me much more than the tiebreaker rules. I don't mind as long as there are some semblance of skill to the tiebreaker rules. Like in Game of Thrones that I used to play, the last tiebreaker was number of cards left in your deck. In that game there was no skill to that at all. It had no bearing on your play. So that was just a random number. Here it's actually something that you are controlling.
Like, you want to go for the maybe go for the initiative because damage is first.
Here's a question then, or an idea for another strategy. Say instead of fighting out for half of your match time again in game 1, hoping that you might win and pull that out. Whereas, would it maybe be better to know at some point halfway through, actually, I'm not going to win this. This is not going well for me. Call game 1, focus on game 2. And give more time for game 2 and 3. So
I do that all the time.
The question is then, at what point, if you're playing control against, for example, control against aggro, and aggro have had a good start and you've had a good, at what point do you do you collect your cards up and go? At what point is there a good rule of thumb to say right now? It's 10 minutes in, this is not going well for me. Do I just call it now?
I think there is certain cards in your deck that if you haven't seen them or you have seen them, go away. Like for example, in the control mirror, if it's looking grim and the opponent have vigilance and your restock disappeared, I say just go next.
Yeah.
You can't win.
Yeah.
You just can't win.
You-
Or like you have a 1% chance, and that's not worth taking.
You got to know your outs. This is
Yeah.
poker. This is the poker part of it.
Yeah.
You got to know what outs you have, and
Right,
and
yep.
that depends on your deck. If you have plenty of outs, you're
Yeah.
not scooping. But when the outs are dwindling into a likelihood where the time you would save gives you a better chance of winning than
Yep.
trying for those outs. That's
Yep.
the math you got to do.
I think that the problem with the control mirror when you are supposed to scoop or not is because you don't know if the opponent has the restock left in their deck
Yeah.
or if they've already pulled it.
Yeah.
So you always have that chance, but the opponent might know it's so over, but you need to figure it out, and that's going to take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's rough. I think where you can really use that skill of surrendering, it's in the mid-range matchups that takes a lot of time sometimes, and like one player will most likely know I got this, and the other one is like, if I pull this and this and this, I can win. And that's when you need to like think, is that realistic?
Yeah.
Because if I waste this time, I might not be able to finish the third, or maybe I am the one that deploy my leader later in the third game, which is huge when it's gonna be into a damage race. And even worse in Swiss because you're going to get a draw, which is terrible.
But I mean, and most of the time, I mean, the focus is on Swiss. You know,
Yeah.
do you, if you know you're not going to win after the first 10 minutes, you just say, okay, actually, you just scoop and go for game two, and then you've got 45 minutes
because
to try and push out two games.
If you're playing someone you know, you're going to play fast, but you cannot count on like a random player you haven't faced to play super fast because you dragged out the game one because you wanted to try to win an impossible game.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, and there are slow players out there. There are players that aren't they're not so quick with the game because they're thinking about it. They're not so familiar with the cards, and it's like, okay, if this happens, this happens, this happens, and so you can't count on everyone being 30 seconds per turn.
No,
And even if you try to hold your opponent to that, 30 seconds per turn is still a lot of time if the game is going to go a lot of turns.
yes,
So you can't even if your opponent is doing it the way they should, you need to do the math of the time left versus the chance of winning.
yeah, and like you have to kind of one tip I would say is like to think about what the opponent can do on your turn. So like if you know if he does this, I will play this card.
Yeah.
Like I don't think more than 2 to 5 seconds per turn. When the turn has been passed to me, I've been thinking a lot between on the person's turn because they have taken time. But so that is like, and that you can train, you can practice that, like play faster, and like you don't have to practice it the first time on a tournament, but like in your local play, and just accept that you're gonna make some blunders in the beginning, and then you will get faster, and then you will know which situations you can slow down, because if you play like me very fast for a couple of rounds, then you can take some rounds to really think about it when it really matters.
Exactly, because you most of your turns you can map out.
Yeah.
You can map out. You pretty much know what kind of lines your opponent could take, so you can map it out, and you can map it out as your opponent is playing. But then you get into that choice: your opponent surprises you, or you draw something, and it's like I usually take more time thinking about my resourcing than I do about my actual play.
Yeah.
Because,
That one can be rough.
Yeah, because that's the one you can't really prepare for. You just get what you get.
Especially when you play aggro. Like the Django and Sabine, the resources in that deck, like you can lose the game on you resourcing bad, and it has nothing to do with the opponent's skill. It's just you not resourcing correctly, and you lost the game. And it's interesting that you have those different like mechanics in a way. The opponent feel they played great, but you just sit there. I messed up. I should have won.
That happens.
So like if we're moving on, like there was a lot of control. There was the Django and Sabine, but there was also a CAD Red, right? That made the top 8. Which was quite interesting. CAD, by the way, had a great showing. Wins
Against
percent
the Sabines.
style.
Like CAD Red is so great in Sabine. Gosh.
I think I actually looked at the stats. They were also really good into Django Red.
Yeah.
They are. So if you
and it shouldn't be, because it's a ground-based deck.
Yeah.
And CAD should have a hard time controlling the space race.
Yeah. But I think they have so many with the McClunky and stuff like that. Waylay is also annoying.
Obviously.
But I'm surprised. But based on the stats, I feel like if you expect a lot of Sabine and Djangos, just start practicing CAD Bane Red, and you will have.
I think into CAD you're probably better off with CAD Blue, but because again, even though this guy managed to beat a lot of Django Red, I think that's not really a good matchup. You're a unit-based control-y deck, and that's what Django strives on. That's the food for Django.
But something the Cats did something right, at least during this event, even though they didn't take it all the way. I think they had a really bad time against Palpatines. I think
I don't think they have any shot into Palpatine really.
But so it's always going to be this is a 200 people tournament. Some decks will be better here and not be that good in the local meta.
True.
In a smaller tournament, I feel like we haven't seen that many Boss Blues winning these 40, 50, 60, 70 tournaments. But these 200 tournaments, he edges it out, right?
Right.
Which is very interesting.
For sure.
Yeah.
So talking about that, there were a lot of other tournaments this weekend.
Yeah.
We had at least 3 tournaments just shy of between 30 and 40 players. So you got another good stream that went on through the night. In Chicago, they had a winner case tournament with 37 players, which was taken by CAD Talking Town. Yoda Killer took it down, and he beat an Anakin Blue DC on a Anakin Blue in the finals. It was a really good match. It was casted by the Take the Initiative and Late Night Gaming and McClunky Gaming. Those channels often team up and stream some things.
I think CAD Red also eats up on that Anakin Blue deck, right?
Right. It should have a good matchup into there. And again, being in the US, there were Sabine came in third, Django Talking Town fourth, and another Sabine in the top 6. So, but there was a Bosk Blue in this tournament. Took last in the top 8, I think. So there were some of that.
It is nice. So so looking at the meta decks, Sabine, it is still strong, but it's not winning everything.
It wasn't in set 1 or 2 either. It won
exactly.
a few things, but it was always placing well.
No, exactly. And now Django's come in as Boba Fett's fun daddy, and taking that role, I guess. But again, like I said beforehand, it's strong, but it's also beatable.
I think that was
everything
always,
is beatable. That's the interesting thing here.
That was always the thing with Sabine, though. It was never. You could tech against Sabine, if the game plan, and you can tech against it, but you give up ground against other decks when you do so.
Yeah,
and it's the same with. It's even more like that with Django Talking Town, I think, because it's very specific what you need to do in order to tech against it, and so you devote some of your sideboard to that maybe, but then you give up ground into Anakin Blue or something else,
Yeah, I think the thing that difference now is if you tech for Sabine, you don't necessarily auto lose, because that's what you did before. If you tech too hard against Sabine, Boba just smashed you in the face. Target Django can do that, but he's not as represented, right? So it's all right. If he would become 20% of the meta, then you can't anymore, and you're in the same situation, and then maybe Sabine Django just splits the wins between. You have to tech between either, but at the moment it looks quite healthy, and just by the look of it, with Seam Palps and Bosk winning tournaments, I feel like aggro is not a problem at the moment.
No.
I think. Maybe the problem could be that mid-range is too weak, that it's too easy to beat mid-range.
But then you had the Rochester 1K this weekend, 29 players. You got Cunningham in both first and second place.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you got, and actually Blue Anakin came in third and Django Taking Town only fourth. Yeah. So, you know, the mid-range is still alive. Like there is mid-range going around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is, but like just in these big tournaments, like maybe, but in the local like 40 tournament people, like anything can work, right? Just be good at your deck.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like pick your deck, rep it, get good at it, and don't have 10 options 3 days before the tournament.
No. Like you go, Jason. Continue.
I was just saying exactly, which is my situation right now. So yeah, but obviously, you know, knowing your deck is more important than the meta.
I guess, yes.
Could that be a thing as well? You know, knowing what is coming, like you said, Victor, knowing your outs, knowing your chances, or do you just focus on game two? That kind of thing.
Because even though, like, let's say that Anakin is this popular, right? 30%. That means that you're going to face it in Swiss once or twice.
Yeah.
So just being good at your deck, you is more important than just having to focus on one different opponent's deck. You can't be bad against too many like good decks, but it's better to be really prepared on your own deck and know that you have where you're fighting chances into the good decks than just take a good deck and not pilot it well. But like one tournament I was really interested in when I looked at the top cuts was the Barcelona, right? No, it wasn't.
No, it was somewhere in Spain, not sure.
Somewhere in Spain, yeah. Second, the Reyereta in La Cantina.
Yeah, that could be a competitor for our name. Should we sue them?
Yes. Well, our name, or you know, the Manatorsk is a tournament name. You should say because
I don't think so. They will sue me for the bad English.
Spanish. Because it is like the number two beforehand. So like the second Reyerta en la Cantina. It sounds like Catina Brawl.
Yeah, it could be the
number two as well.
Yeah, exactly. Let's click into this. I'm gonna put this into Google Translate and see what this comes out as. You guys talk about it, and I'm gonna Google Translate.
Yeah. I have 2 notes on this one. I'm just going to say the cool things. The one, that Han Blue won.
Yeah.
That was very interesting. The second was 4 Palpatines in the top 8. One of them being the new Palpatine.
The Chancellor Palpatine, yeah. Came in 5th, it looks like.
Unfortunately, all of them lost their top 8 games, apparently. But still, that's another strong showing for Palps. Let's go, Viktor.
No, that's my takeaway as well. Again, like... mid-range being represented quite well. I'm not sure. Hand 2 ECL could be
that is an aggro deck.
It could be an aggro deck.
Definitely be an
aggro. But Django Green.
Django Green.
That's not the ECL. That's Django Green, and that's got to be a mid-range deck, right? I can't believe it's anything else. And then you got Hand 2 Blue is definitely even on the controller side of mid-range, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say it's less controlling than Krennic, but it plays a lot with units still.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you say that with the Django Green mid-range deck, is that just Boba Green? Could that be just Boba Green?
I do not know. I have not seen the deck list of this one, but yeah.
Me neither. But could it be like could switch the leader?
Yeah, could be.
And then just see it was... The cards are good enough to carry a bit by themselves. Could be
possibly. I mean, for sure, the deck doesn't play ECL, which really looks like it could be that deck. Well, it's interesting anyway.
Yeah. Just to confirm it, the translation of El Reyerta en la Cantina is this number 2 Brawl in the Cantina.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah. There is a literal translation of Catina Brawl 2. Yep. So it is a popular name. Manatorsk was there first, though.
Yeah.
So we did have a tournament as well. I don't know the size of it. It was a 1K in Massachusetts, and lots of top players from the KTOD.
That one. They split the top 4, right?
Yeah, they split top 4. But you got a lot of those, and here you definitely get the fast mid-range aggro things. You got 2 Django Talking Towns. You got a Quinlan Talking Town. You got Sabine ECL. You got Quinlan Green. Also a Harm 2 ECL. Interesting.
Probably aggro as well.
Yeah, probably quite fast. So this was definitely one of the really, really faster scenes, and very typically American.
Yeah, I feel like they have the opposite. Like, I don't like the control mirrors to watch, but like the aggro mirrors are also a bit annoying. The only preference in that is that they end faster. Like,
well, being a very fond Sabine player, I can enjoy them quite a bit.
Yeah, they are quite fun, but they can be annoying. Like when you know initiative matters a lot, and you lose that in the beginning, or like these small tiny things. Not as annoying as a control match where you're playing and feel like you are in it in 25-30 minutes and they mill your two most important cards. That is worse. But I think the most interesting matchups that when you go mirror to head is usually mid range. Because there's more options in general. I would say. But that is very interesting that we see the full European side and the full American side and something in the middle in between in Spain. By the way, if someone has that deck list to the new Chancellor Palpatine Blue, please post it in the Discord, because I would like to try that out. That has to be the most skill-intense deck ever.
Is that the one? Is that the one that came fifth in?
Yeah, 5th to 8th. Yeah.
No, I've got it here.
Oh, really? Nice. So no one has to post it.
No, that's cool. We'll put it there. If you click on the Palpatine 3 blue, it actually goes to the Sprue deck list. So it's technology, Adam. This it's what these links do. Yeah.
It looks a lot like most Chancellor Blue decks I've seen.
Yeah.
It's heavy on the heroic, only a few dark side.
I now have my 11th possibility for Saturday.
Yeah, Blast, Power of the Dark Side, Avenger, Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yeah, of course.
Lone Pike is pretty interesting to get at least some smuggle, but I would probably prefer Tech.
I'm a little bit surprised how few dark side events it's running.
Yeah.
Because that's been a staple of these dark side decks. You play heroic units and you play villainous events.
Yeah.
Well, that's the nice thing with Lone Pike being able to be smuggled in, is there if you need it to trigger.
Yes, that's true. The flip,
for the flip, and then you've also got Power of the Dark Side when you need it. Super Laser Blast when you need it.
I think this one is really cool. Maybe I would add like a more Avenger or something. It feels strong to have a better end game, but I like this. But I'm not playing it on Saturday, but
But I mean, in defense of that, actually, because he's got one Redemption and one Avenger, it depends if he's stuck on one side or the other.
Yeah, that's true.
So you don't want to.
You can get stuck, but you really don't want to get stuck, because that's when you lose.
Yeah.
No, of course, but you can if you've got both. If you've got both,
higher chance of not getting stuck.
Yeah. No, exactly. Cool. Well, there we go. But you've been in a tournament as well this week, Adam, and done quite well on an online tournament.
True. Almost forgot about that. Yes, the TTI Online League, run by Take the Initiative Group. Season 8 or 7, I'm not sure. I think I said the wrong season on the video that I made. It doesn't matter.
Which will be coming out very soon on YouTube, by the way.
Where I will talk a little bit more about it. But I won that one. First one here to do it. I think Jonah had a chance but failed. It's nice that we finally brought it in.
He's not here to defend himself. Be nice.
But he had a good chance once a few seasons ago, and I got a very lucky run, good opponents for a Sabine ECL, and it showed how strong it can be to early in the meta lock into a deck that is already refined from the previous meta. And it means shows how hard it is to actually build a new deck that really fits on the fly. And that's what I did. Took Sabine ECL, added 4 cards. Not necessarily the 4 cards I would keep, now, but and it worked out. Beat a Luke Green in the final, and I think Luke Green deck, like for being so early in the set, was very impressively built. And I think that Luke Green has some legs here as well. In this, I think it's probably trash against Bosk and Palp, but
Heroic Command has got some really good cards coming as well, especially Luke. You've got the Force and Jedi synergies as well.
Yeah, I really like Generous Blade and Huang.
Yeah.
Those two are really, and like you just go with this play cheaper package with Luke, and you still get the resupply. I like that deck. I might pick that up after Manatorsk if I fail miserably, or just want to play something new.
No, of course, because obviously after Manatorsk, we
too bad you can't have Luke showcases.
We'll see what happens in the future. But obviously after this Manatorsk tournament, we go into Store Showdown season, and then we have PQ season going on end of January into March.
All with this set.
All with this set, and even like in beginning of February, 7th of February, up in Norway. So if you want to go up and visit Jonah and give the Norwegians some friends, then that is on the way up there. You can come by and pick us up on the way.
I'm really looking forward to our car drive there, Jason.
Yes, indeed.
You're locked in now.
I am locked in. Because I said there was a slight possibility. Suddenly I'm going.
Yes, you just have to tell your wife. It's
seriously,
locked.
If I have 1% chance, I will open that window. I will open the crack in that window and I will make my way through. We'll see what happens there as well. But so this is just the beginning of the competitive season now for set 3. So like I'm looking at this going, well, can I play a set 1 or 2 leader with all this great stuff coming out? No, this is just the start of the season. We've still got a lot to go, and what the set 4 is the light speed. What's the name of set 4?
What's this? The hyperspace, into the hyperspace.
Into light speed. Into the light speed or something like that, where we're going to get some new stuff, some new mechanics by the sounds of it, and so this is a really good time now to really just get in to the game. The set 1 restock is coming soon as well to Sweden. It's already finding shops in the US.
Nice.
Set 1 should be coming pretty soon back to Sweden shelves as well. So if you still want to get into the game, then that's fine. Now is the time to think about doing that.
I like that you said it's fine. It's not like we want you there, but it's fine. You can take some of our new supply.
Jump to light speed is the name of the set.
Jump to light speed.
So I was completely wrong with into hyperspace.
No, exactly. I was 50% right.
Yes, way closer.
Yeah.
But for the Skövde, like, what decks would you prepare for, Viktor, if you were if you were going, which you are, but which decks would you try to which most important to play against? Right?
So I think there's a couple of ways to do this.
Bear in mind, Viktor, as you're answering this question, you can shape what people are choosing and then choose the exact thing to go up against them.
I'll be honest.
You have power right now. Just think about this.
I'll just be honest.
Okay, yeah.
I think there's like a set of staples kind of congealing at this point. I don't think you can go to Manatorsk and not having practiced against Django Talking Town. If you haven't practiced against it, you're going to be miserable. And the same goes for Anakin Blue. Even though it failed miserably in Birmingham, I just know that some of the top Swedish players just enjoy playing the game that way. And like even if the deck was actual rubbish, which it's not a rubbish deck.
No, it's not completely rubbish.
But even if it was, in the hands of a player like Tobbe, actual rubbish is good. Like he can win with anything. He's just really, really solid player, and he can eke out a win with the backside of the cards, So I definitely look into what that deck looks like, because there's a chance you're going to face it. And apart from that, I'd just take a look at some of the staples that always are around. Like obviously Sabine. You got to look at Sabine. You got to know what that is, and then maybe you should take a look at Quinlan. How does he work? What does he do? Because he's probably kind of show up. He's the kind of fun leader that might show up.
And he's a good leader,
he's
like stat-wise.
Really good. Bosk, you got to know what Bosk is up to. Whether it's the green version or the blue version, he plays so differently that you got to know something about it. And definitely you got to know about Han 1. Like Han Solo 1.
Yes.
Because that deck also plays very differently. You've got to have a different tactic into it. And these are things you need to look at. If you're looking and again, depends on what kind of player you are. Yeah. Are you going into this seriously to try and get good results? That's how you do that. Yeah. If you're going into this and you're just going to have fun, well, like in our prepping group, there are a couple of players that are like, I'm going to play Ahsoka because I love Ahsoka, like Ahsoka unit. Well, she's not as good as Ezra in this deck that you're preparing. Yeah, I know. But Ahsoka, come on, I'm going to play Ahsoka. And it's, all right, play Ahsoka. You know, that
sounds like something I could do.
And I know for sure, like Mikael is going to have a great time if he brings Ahsoka because he loves playing Ahsoka.
So we've got one Ahsoka.
Yeah, no, not the leader. He's putting the unit.
Oh, the unit Ahsoka in there as well. He's already lost then. I mean, come on.
He should be playing Ezra, but he's playing Ahsoka.
That makes sense now because Ezra isn't a leader.
Ezra is a three cost.
Yeah. No, he's very good.
With the same stats as the Ahsoka, but it draws cards. But it kind of.
He plays the top card of the deck. Plays the top card to get. So which is actually really powerful. It's like one of those kind of good cunning.
Well, anyway, so it depends on what kind of player you are, but I think looking at, I think some people talk about the gauntlet, like you put your deck through the gauntlet of the staples of the meta, and that's probably a good idea to do if you want to prepare.
I think the gauntlet is just not as set.
No, as very much wide
as
open.
In set 2, it was like Boba. And then you could just start rest.
Like this weekend shaked so much up for us in our testing because we have not been testing into Palpatine because obviously we were not expecting people to win. And now we're like, crap, we know a couple of people that love playing Palpatine. We're going to have to test into Palpatine. That's such a drag. It's so slow.
And it's such a hard deck to pilot as well. You need to get yourself some reps before it's a good practice.
Exactly.
I don't want to comment on the local meta because it's not fair on the friends I have here and what they're bringing. In some of the previous tournaments, though, there have been some Palpatines. I will say that much. One of the guys who did play Palpatine has moved away. I will say that because he sold me his deck, and he left, and I took everything he had. That's not why he left.
Because you robbed him.
No, exactly. However, I'm not going to talk about the comment on this, but you make some very good points with what that local meta is. With what your thoughts are, Victor.
And everything is also, of course, depending on how much time you have. So, everyone can't win, but I think it's solid to have a goal, maybe to what is it? Just have fun? Is it 2 wins, 4 wins? Top cut, first place, second place. It's always good to have some ambition to make the day better, right? I want to win 2 games at least. Then you're going to be happy when you do it and not I did not do so well. I went only 2 and 4. But if you're the first tournament you ever do, it's not that bad. So
if you're nearby, and that's actually if you came to Manatorsk before and you've been like, okay, it's so far away from the train station, how do I even get there? Am I going to make it? Well, the new location is actually more central now, and it's maybe 4 to 5 minute walk from the train station. You can get there really quickly. Lunch, there's a Santa Gordon's literally across the street. You come out the door, you walk across the street, and you're at the front door of Santa Gordon's Pizza.
It's okay.
Yeah, so
it was also a pretty good Indian place.
There's a very good Indian place next door. There's a sushi place on the corner. There's a lot of food. Oh yeah. So yeah, the Indian place just like the block over. There is it's a very, very good experience. The new shop itself has a lot of space now. Space for 80 people if we haven't mentioned that already. A lot of a really nice shop, lots of space downstairs. It's not just 80 tables and we squeeze in. The 80 tables, the 80 seats they have is like not even half of the basement taken up.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to feel claustrophobic, everything. It's actually just a very pleasant time. And there's the community. You get to meet us.
Yes. Get some autographs from Fun Daddy and Viktor.
Yeah, there we go. And we still have a couple of playmats that we can sell.
That's true.
If you haven't got the hands on them yet as well. So we still have a few of those if you want to do that and support us. So yeah. That is your reason to come and say hi.
Come and hang out with us.
Hang out on Saturday with us as well. It's going to be a really, really good time. A really just good community celebration, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think you can ask Jason also for him to paint the Huang, like do that the proxy, like the what is it, alternative art.
Let's call it alternative art.
Yeah,
Victor, you haven't seen my. You haven't seen my proxy, have you?
Haven't I?
Hoyang.
I might have actually.
That I basically just drew on a different card, my own little with a Sharpie of Hoyang in there as a proxy, so that I could test it.
Pretty solid.
You just talked about it. I didn't actually see it.
Yeah,
just told me about it.
I actually do have it on my desk still here, or if I have lost it in the craziness of the tip of my office space.
Probably the craziness.
I will. It will be on display. Maybe I can add it to the prize pool.
Yes.
That should be like a Sansa prize. What would be the equivalent of a Sansa in Sweden?
Sansa prize. The
is
wooden
that
spoon, like, if you came last
Jar
place.
Jar?
Yeah, a Jar Jar prize.
Like, so if you get last place, wins my Hoyang proxy. Mm-hmm. And I will even sign it for you.
That's good.
There we go. So if you really want that, come along, do really badly, lose every single game, and you get my Hoyang proxy.
Yeah,
nice.
Love that.
That's a strong ending on this episode, right?
It really is. That is it. Well, that's all from us as well. We will put the link, because we want to see you if you're in Sweden. We want to see you at the canteen. We will put the link to the events in the show notes.
It's okay to come from a different country as well.
It is okay. It takes a little bit longer, but it is okay to come as well. Yeah. There is a camping site on the mountain if you get stuck in Skövde afterwards as well. So the camping site is over.
Camp. It's winter in Sweden. You cannot tent.
Okay. Yes, there are also hotels. Some quite nice ones, but I don't know why I went to camping straight away when there were hotels.
Well, maybe you got the feeling, but it's also like it is a 2 case event. It's not just a 1 case.
The prizes. Thank you. Yes.
So if you are still in the in-betweens, if you're gonna go, like, come, it's gonna be a nice pricing. The and price a lot of fun.
Prize pool is by far the best we've had in Sweden at this point. I'd say this is obviously with the Malmö game week. We knew that you were going to get a showcase, but this is definitely straight up value. It's more.
And
agreed.
Yep. And then the extra 6 boosters, boosters boxes afterwards is also pretty good, like for the rest. So come and join us, and and let's chat. Maybe we take the lunch together, or like dinner afterwards. Awesome. Something. We'll not dinner afterwards. It's gonna end like 10. There is no restaurants open in Lilla Skövde after 10.
In the center, there were possibly some places
at the nightclub.
At the nightclub, but I think the Indian restaurants open a lot later as well. So there is that one as well. Well, there we go then. This is it for us tonight. We hope you have enjoyed it. Come and get involved. Like I said earlier, it's really cool to see people from all over the world getting involved in our Discord and coming in and joining the community. So come in, introduce yourself. It's always so nice to hear that we get new listeners as well. So come and do that. But until then, we'll see you Saturday, or if we don't see you Saturday, you'll hear from us in a week's time. Until then, may the force be with you. Good night from me.
Bye bye.
Good night.